There we go. All right. Well, welcome everyone again. I'm just so happy to get to be with you here today and practice our mindfulness for the moment. As I mentioned, I'm Claire Spears, and I'm a professor in the School of Public Health at Georgia State University. I'm a clinical psychologist by practice and have really been lucky to work with Mark Danon Felser over the years and learn from him. So today, let's start by just settling in. I always like to take a little stretch. It's middle of the day, middle of the week. We all have a lot going on. And also, we are right here, right now. So, doing our best to set the intention of being here together. You don't have to be anywhere else right now, nothing else to do. What a gift. Maybe taking some slow, deep breaths, just letting yourself arrive here in this community together. So, to get started, I'd like to share a few reflections on self compassion and turning toward ourselves with kindness, which is often not so easy to do. Self compassion is a practice that invites us to turn toward our suffering and our difficulties with the same tenderness and care that we might offer a dear friend. We're often so much harder on ourselves than we are on other people. Kristen Neff, who you may have heard of, is a psychologist and a researcher who's done a lot of work around self-compassion. And I really appreciate the way she's defined self-compassion as being composed of three primary components. So the first is mindfulness. And especially in the context of suffering and difficulty, mindfulness involves recognizing that we're struggling, being aware of it as it is without exaggerating or denying our experience. So that first component is mindfulness. The second component is self-kindness. And that's responding to our pain with warmth, with gentleness, as we would want to treat a beloved friend rather than self-criticism. Talking to ourselves like we would talk to a close friend. And third is common humanity, which is really about remembering that suffering is part of the human experience. So often when we're going through difficulty, it feels very insular, very alone. And yet we are all humans connected in our imperfections, our suffering, our difficulties. So we remember that everyone struggles and makes mistakes. Everyone hurts. We're all human and we're not alone in our struggle. So those are the three components of self-compassion: mindfulness, self-kindness, and common humanity. And when we think about practicing self-compassion in human just daily life, it's something you don't have to practice. You don't have to wait until you're calm to practice. It's something you can do right in the middle of the mess, right? Even when things are feeling uncertain, painful, or overwhelming. It might look like putting a hand on your heart, sometimes that physical touch, and saying, "This is hard. I'm doing my best." Taking a breath when you notice self-criticism, that inner critic, and asking, what do I really need right now to take care of myself? And reminding yourself you're not the only one who feels this way. Struggling is part of being human. I am not alone in feeling this. And importantly, self-compassion is not about feeling sorry for ourselves. It's not about going too easy on ourselves or avoiding responsibility, which I think can often be a concern about self-compassion. It's really about being honest with ourselves and choosing kindness over criticism. So I'll give an example from my research, which Mark Dannenfelser has been a big part of, where we work with people who are trying to change really difficult health habits. We do a lot of work around helping people quit smoking, as well as their eating habits, alcohol, and other substance use. And so consider somebody who's trying to eat more healthily, but they slip and they overeat, or they eat something they didn't plan to. They told themselves they weren't allowed to have. Without self compassion, that inner critic can immediately jump in. Oh, I'm such a failure. Why can't I do this? Why can't I just stick to my plan? I'll never be able to change. I might as well give up. And often that really harsh self-criticism leads to more struggling, more stress, which can fuel more of the unwanted behavior, right? So the person might end up eating a whole box of cookies rather than just one, right? And feeling a lot worse. We see similar patterns with quitting smoking. Many of the people that we work with are middle aged and older and have been smoking most of their lives. And it is incredibly hard to quit smoking. There's so much stigma and there's a lot of self criticism. And so people often get really down on themselves for having tried many, many times to quit and not succeeding for as long as they want to. And so we try to really help people to recognize their mistakes and their setbacks with mindfulness and with self-kindness so that they're more likely to get back on track. And so instead of beating themselves up, people might say to themselves, this is hard, but I'm learning. One slip up doesn't erase all the progress that I've made. Not all is lost. I'm not alone. Many others understand how tough this is. It's okay to mess up. I'm forgiving myself. I'm going to give it another shot. How can I learn from this and do something different next time? Oftentimes we'll ask people to think about, what would you say to a good friend going through this experience? And what it would be like to say that to yourself? We often assume that if we're too easy on ourselves, we'll make bad choices or avoid responsibility. But that's really not what self-compassion is about. It's really about treating ourselves with kindness so that we can recognize what's going on and then move on, choose to do the next right thing. So with that, I'll invite you to do a little self-compassion practice with me today. There's no right or wrong way to do this, and I'll lead you through it. So let's begin by finding a comfortable posture. Sitting straight up in your chair. If you like to take a stretch, feel free. See if you can release a little bit of tension. Closing the eyes if that's comfortable. If you'd rather leave them open, that's perfectly fine. Just maintain a gentle gaze, maybe down in front of you. Allowing your hands to rest in your lap, maybe holding your hands or even over your heart, whatever feels comforting. And taking a few slow, deep breaths. Inhaling fully, exhaling all the way out. Now, I invite you to bring to mind a situation in your life that's somewhat difficult or stressful right now. Try to pick something that's not too intense, not too overwhelming, just something that's somewhat hard right now. Maybe an area of your life where you feel like you need some care. And as you bring it to mind, notice what happens in your body. Notice any tension, tightness. Notice any emotions that are present. Doing your best to acknowledge what's there rather than pushing it away. What does it feel like? You might gently say to yourself, this is a moment of suffering, or this is hard. Ouch. This is mindfulness, simply recognizing that things are hard right now without needing to fix it or push it away. So that was our first step, mindfulness, recognizing the hurt and the suffering. Next, we'll focus on common humanity, remembering suffering is part of life. It's part of being human. Saying to yourself, suffering is part of the human experience. I'm not alone in this. Others feel it too. You might imagine all the other people right now who are experiencing something similar, others who might feel disappointed, afraid, confused, frustrated, lonely, whatever it is, we're connected in these emotions. Feeling that connection to a larger circle of humanity. You're not alone in feeling this way. We all suffer. We all make mistakes. We are all connected in our imperfection. Continuing to breathe. Now that we've practiced the focus on mindfulness and common humanity, we'll come into self-kindness. Here, it can be helpful if you're not already to use some soothing touch. You might be holding your hands together in your lap, noticing the sensations of holding the hands. You might put one hand or both hands over the heart. You might touch a cheek or even cradle the face with your hands, noticing that sensation of touch, of soothing. And say to yourself words of kindness, choosing words that feel natural for you. You might say, may I be kind to myself. May I give myself the compassion that I need. May I accept myself as I am. May I be gentle with myself. You might repeat whatever phrases feel right to you, slowly, silently. May I be kind to myself. May I treat myself with gentleness. Using those phrases over and again. And every time the mind wanders, take a moment to notice with curiosity where the mind goes off to. Maybe thoughts about the past, thoughts about the future, maybe even some of that self critic coming in. Just noticing, no need to react. Breathing and coming back to those phrases. May I be kind to myself? May I be gentle with myself in this moment? You might ask yourself gently and honestly, what do I need right now? What would support me? And just listen. There may be an answer or not. Simply asking yourself that is an act of care. Now, letting go of the words, letting go of any effort, just resting in this compassionate presence that you have cultivated. Breathing slowly, deeply, feeling the breath fill the belly. Noticing how the body feels in this moment. You might offer yourself gratitude for taking time to practice self compassion, knowing you can share that compassion with others and with yourself whenever you need it. I'll read a poem for us to hear together. This is a poem called Walk Slowly by Dana Falls. It only takes a reminder to breathe, a moment to be still, and just like that, something in me settles, softens, makes space for imperfection. The harsh voice of judgment drops to a whisper, and I remember again that life isn't a relay race, that we will all cross the finish line, that waking up to life is what we were born for. As many times as I forget, catch myself charging forward without even knowing where I'm going, that many times I can make the choice to stop, to breathe and be, and walk slowly into the mystery. Continuing to sit here with our breath, maybe noticing the connection to all of those here practicing with us now, as well as those out in the world. Bringing a sense of gratitude for that, for our connection. To ground yourself, you might focus on your feet, firmly rooted to the ground, firmly rooted to the earth, noticing that strength. Gently bringing some movement back to the body. You might wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, roll the shoulders. Take any other stretch that might feel good. When you're ready, opening your eyes if they were closed.